Hello there. What a concert, isn't it? And the composers create their works entirely for us. Isn't that a true miracle? Let us take this special moment and enjoy the last warm breaths of this eventful day to come to rest, to reflect, and to arrive at ourselves. You are sitting on a heavy wooden bench at the edge of a particularly old forest near a place you know well. You have made yourself comfortable here. An intensely fragrant rooibos tea is steaming from the thermos next to you, and you are dressed just right for an evening walk. A summery day is slowly and pleasurably coming to an end. You can almost hear the sound of the leaves rustling as they move gently in the warming wind. Whenever you stand still right next to any timid plant, an ancient tree, or in a field of intense buzzing and humming, you listen very closely. You can hear them all telling their stories. A dedicated squirrel chitters as it climbs up a beech, and a woodpecker taps on a tree trunk. A bird calls out loudly, and then falls silent. There are also many other sounds that you might not yet be able to identify. It is as though they are incessantly speaking in their own language. Isn't it fascinating how things grow, change, and die? Have you also used to wonder why plants grew towards the sun and animals towards the ground? In springtime, the trees bloom with flowers. They spread their petals wide open, letting them be touched by the sun's rays. Their roots dig deep into the soil. And when winter comes, the trees lose their leaves. The branches droop down and hang low. They shed their leaves so they can survive the cold. There are some who don't follow this simple pattern. Some trees do not want to let go of their leaves, even during the harsh winter. They stay stubbornly green, even when snow covers their branches. These trees are called evergreens. Evergreen trees are usually found in areas where winters are extremely cold and snowy. They are the exception to the rule, which is that most trees shed their leaves during the winter. Evergreens have evolved to survive these harsh winters. They store energy from the sun throughout the year use it to fuel their growth. When the weather becomes warmer, they begin to blossom and to produce flowers. In doing so, they release pollen into the air, which fertilizes the seeds that lie dormant inside the flower. The seeds sprout once the weather becomes warmer again. Evergreens thus live for hundreds of years. They are a symbol of life, of reminiscences. I say, before I join you on your view over the many grain fields and take a seat next to you. The forest we're sitting in front of is a deciduous forest, so there are less evergreen trees and more plants of the natural cycle every year has to offer. Do you want to close your eyes and listen to the stories these ever-changing trees might tell us? I for sure will. How happy I am to meet you here today. We can look together into the unreachable distance, marvel at the vastness of this early summer landscape, and breathe in the last long rays of sunshine of the day. On the bright yellow rape field close to us, we can catch a glimpse of dancing butterflies, the most colorful variety, while in our background an orchestra of birdsong sings its evening greeting. The dreaming thrushes, eager starlings, and excited blackbirds sit upright and begin their performance. We sit quietly. You sip your tea, which by now has reached a pleasant temperature, and simply listen to the moment. The sky is a clear blue. The clouds are white and fluffy. The wind is gentle. The fields are full of green grasses, wildflowers, and rapeseed. The sun is setting behind the mountains, starting to paint the sky slightly reddish. A special kind of violet appears as a young horizon. We feel calm and relaxed. Breathe with me. In and out. Inhale. Hold it. And exhale. are you feeling? Do you feel like a walk through the forest? Before it gets dark, we can surely observe some strangeness and just wonder at the profound possibility of a new morning. You smile and nod. We stow your thermos in a small, feather-light bag, and you swing a thin scarf around your shoulders. It's not cold yet, but the shadows of the deciduous trees are getting longer, and we do not want to bring a chill to the forest. We stand up and trudge cautiously over the slightly damp hiking path into the soothing forest. A woodpecker knocks persistently on the door of his beloved, and a hedgehog scurries dignifiedly into the undergrowth beside us. We look at the different tree shapes and imagine how old these wooden friends might be. After a while of listening, you stop, fascinated, at a large willow tree. This specimen is particularly complex and pompous. Its thick trunk twists itself into a spiral, and its branches twist themselves into spirals too. All the way up to the top, the bark looks like a series of rings. It is beautiful. The bark is smooth and shiny, as if polished by time. We touch it softly, feel how the rough texture gives way to soft skin. As we walk on, we notice how the trees seem to be standing closer together than before. We start to get the feeling that we're being watched. We look back and see two eyes looking at us. Two big, round, innocent eyes. We look again. There are two more eyes. 3 eyes, then 4. 2 old owls are watching us from an old maple tree. One of them seems to be resting. The other one is awake and alert. The sentinel owl has a brown, grayish, patterned face and seems to raise its pointed eyebrows as we step closer to the willow. We roam through its drooping, soft branch hairs, and you stroke a little bud that tickles your shoulder as we pass. It feels like the forest is talking to us. The trees are whispering about their lives, about how they have grown and changed, about how they have survived. They're telling us about their dreams and wishes, about their fears and sorrows, about their memories and experiences. The forest is a living entity, and it is trying to tell us something important. We try to understand what it is saying, but we cannot decipher the meaning. Suddenly, the willow tree raises its calming, dark brown voice and sings us a song that's sentimental and burgeoning, like we have never witnessed before. The song is about a couple who came to the old willow every day and sat on her lap to enjoy the fleeting moments safely and happily. They were not afraid to show their cracks, like the bark of the old willow tree under which they sat. They murmured their secrets into each other's amorous ears, which were only each other's business, and which no forest dweller ever got to hear. No matter how strained the willow pricked up its many ears, it could only guess they were vows of love and tales of feathered battles and cloudy composures. The couple kissed for the very first time under the willow, which the willow sang about with particular pride. We hear one line quite clearly from the wooden murmurings. It was a different kind of love they shared, a different kind of love. Suddenly, we hear a loud cawing. A raven is flying overhead. It circles around us twice and flies off. We continue on our journey, following the fairy trail through the heart of the forest. We keep going until we reach a clearing on which we're stepping out of the woods onto a field of cuckoo flowers in a flourishing pale violet pink, rarely white light-hearted tone. We find ourselves in the middle of a field of flowers, and we sit down on a stone, admiring the view. We look around. The sun is setting, and we can see the first stars twinkling above us. We wave to them from down here, and I have a strong feeling that they're gonna see that eventually, if they squint their clever eyes and concentrate very hard. We are surrounded by a sea of colorful blossoms, and we feel as though we're floating above the world. We feel as though we have escaped reality and entered another dimension, like we've been transported to another realm. We feel as though we've fallen asleep and awakened into a dream. How magical is nature to be able to make us feel that certain kind of way. While sitting on the sun-warmed stone, we hear a strange noise. It sounds like someone is playing the flute. We stand up, walk further, and we hear the same melody, but now it's accompanied by a drum beat. The rhythm is fast and steady. It's hard to tell whether it's a man, a woman, or any different kind of species playing the flute. The music is haunting and mesmerizing. It makes us shudder with excitement. We walk on, and we hear the flute and the drums growing louder. The music is coming from somewhere in the distance. It sounds like it's coming from the forest. A stormy-headed squirrel scurries past your leg, darting after the strange sounds, regardless of its human company. We look at each other and nod briefly. before we too go on our way. The meadow foam whispers good wishes after us, and curious young flowers stretch their little heads. As we enter the forest, we hear the sound of the flute, the drums grow louder. We look at each other, shrug. We walk deeper into the forest, following the fairy trail. We see the light of the moon shining through the treetops, and that although the sun has not yet invited the night in. The moon, too, is looking confidently and curiously at what a strange interlude this bustle is producing. The music is getting louder and louder. We see a shadowy figure running across the ground and disappearing into the forest. We look at each other and sigh. It's a huge family of frogs complementing our ears with their drum and bass versions of the noises of the night. The stars applaud from afar, and the rustling bushes and rampant ground plants reveal a white audience witnessing this peculiar spectacle. Friends and enthusiasts are beckoned from everywhere as the frog extended family creates something that is almost impossible to describe. We take in more of the living forest with each breath. Tuck this memory deep in our hearts. One particularly bright frog smiles wryly at us. In a warming way, he seems familiar, as if we had already had many wonderful conversations with him on our kitchen floor, told him our sorrows and imagined his. You wave gently at him before we take off. We follow the fairy trail and are walking beside a brook with a wooden bridge to sit down for a while. We have the rare chance to watch tiny fishes hurriedly scurry through a labyrinth of algae, impressively small stones, and the careful thought of deliberation. The sound of the small stream is breathtaking. The stream washes tiny ripples and teasing mini whirlpools from left to right, back to left, like a roller coaster. The little guys are having the time of their lives and whooping with joy. They fling fallen alder leaves around their bawling bellies like hula hoops and curl with laughter. It's a circus of droplets and shapes, and we would love to dive in to share their magical, watery energy. As we sit, your eyes follow the path in which the beech trees have grown all around us into the night sky. The amicable moon is shining brightly, and the gorgeous stars are glittering brilliantly. We are awestruck by the beauty of the universe, and we feel as though we're in a sort of heaven. The air is so clean and fresh. We take a deep breath hold it in our gracious lungs. We feel as though we are part of this earth, and as though earth is part of us. We are breathing in life and exhaling peace. We feel as though we have found the key to the world, and as though we're finally home. The rain quietly begins to accompany our evening and wraps us in its pattering cloak. Careful not to slip, we stand up and look around. Our eyes quickly get used to darkness, so it's hardly difficult for us to locate a hut you've already heard of. The old people from your hometown sometimes talk about it. We see the moss-covered cottage standing in an inconspicuous clearing. Surrounded by welcoming cordiality and a pile of firewood, we feel especially at ease to end this wonderful walk on the covered bench in front of the hut. The walk home is a short one from here, and you have another jumper in your bag to put on. Pull it on over your head, and we both smile. The rain is getting heavier, and the pattering on the rotten canopy brings a particular coziness. We open your thermos again and enjoy the last sip of tea, still warm on our lips. You remember the time as a child when you roamed through these forests, always looking for a hole in the tree to hide your secrets in, or to scout out those of other, let's call them rangers. We hum the willow song about the lovers together and lean against the wooden wall behind us. Birds, unimpressed by the rain, continue to sing their sensitive pieces and underline the pattering scenario with an unmistakable pathos. You are a good listener, that is quite clear. As soon as you lie in your bed tonight, snuggled up in your cozy blankets and free in spirit, the scent of the damp forest floor will surely come into your mind again, crawling right now, self-possessed, into our noses. It almost tickles. The air is so fresh and clear. The streetlights are already on in your town. You still have a clever book on your bedside table that you only started reading last night. What do you say? We head back? The tea is empty, and the forest lovingly bids us farewell. The rain is also letting up in this moment. We look at each other and grin. We laugh softly at the fact that we've been caught out by the rain. The forest is quiet, except for the trickling of the brook and the occasional rustling of the leaves. As we walk back to the paths we know best, our ways separate with a heartwarming goodbye and the promise to repeat this walk another time. Have a good night and joyful dreams. See you next time.